Good morning. Good morning. I'm putting the spoiler warning up at the beginning because I will be spoiling the packaging, not the yarn, for the Spring Mini Skein mini series. Oh, okay, I was just getting the notification that I am live, so I was like, uh-oh, what's going on? But before I do official introductions and things, I got today's Wordle in one. I'm like beyond, like, I ran outside screaming, but Keith had, ooh, the frame rate seems poor. Why is this camera streaking? New format, any. Let's try this. Is that better? I don't know. I don't know if it's looking weird. I'm not trying to check the audio, but. Okay, I guess the audio is working. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and today we're going to do a lot of different things. I am going to dye another version of the April. Oh, that's not the right thing to move. I'm going to dye another version of the April ChemKnits dye-along. Do that like silk that I didn't get time to do during the last live stream. If there's time, we might do a Leave No Dye Behind. I've been collecting dye from a lot of projects over the last few days. And I'm also going to spoil the packaging for the Spring Mini Skein mini series. I'm celebrating that I got Wordle in one, but I was already going to stream anyway. And, oh, Nitpicks is having a sale. So let me go over here. Yeah, so Nitpicks, and you can see, I put the setup in over here today, even though it's not, that's better. Yeah, Nitpicks is having a sale, 20% off site-wide. If you would like to learn more, I do have my affiliate link pinned in the comment. There is no coupon code this time, and so therefore it does not stack with bulk bare yarn, which has me sad because they have been in a lot of their sales recently excluding bare yarn. Maybe knowing that that's where I send all you when they have a sale. But when you buy bare yarn in bulk from Nitpicks, it's 15% off. So you can still buy bare yarn here, just not the bulk bare yarn. So if we go to the Bare Dye Your Own, all of this yarn is 20% off. So like the Swish DK is, because it's now $9.99, it's $7.99 per skein. So you can buy 20 or something. It might not come in bags because you're buying individual skeins, but there was no issue with me adding 20 to my cart. So this is still a better discount than the bulk discount where things are 15% off. So therefore, if there's a yarn base you have been wanting to try from Nitpicks, this is a good time to try it at like their, I'm not focused again, at their bulk pricing. And so that is worth checking out. But yeah, so unfortunately it doesn't stack with bare yarn, the bulk bare yarn. But it does work on individual skeins of bare yarn, so that is good. But as I said, I am an affiliate, which means I do earn commissions if you make purchases through my link, but you obviously have no obligations to do so. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is that my Spring Mini Skein mini series sets have been shipping. A lot of them have been delivered. There are a couple that have been accepted by the post office, but the tracking hasn't updated after that. If that's one of your packages, I am keeping an eye on it, and feel free to message me if you are concerned. Typically, I think that my insurance policy is that I have to wait 20 days, and I don't know if it's calendar days or business days before we consider a package lost if the tracking stops updating. But Yeah, so if a package does go missing, you and I can talk about how we proceed from there, whether you want a refund or a replacement. The replacements I might need to do dyed to order, which would take a little bit longer, but I should be able to replace colorways. And because I take pictures of orders as I'm shipping them out, I can probably even figure out which days I had originally sent you and try to replicate that. So, but I think that nothing seems to be lost, but just there's like one where it's like it may arrive late based on the tracking, and so that's one I'm just keeping an eye on. Ooh, good question. Diamond asked, what would you suggest for someone who's never dyed before? That's a really great question. I recommend starting with food coloring to see if you enjoy the process. When I dye yarn with food coloring, I'm comfortable using my cooking pots, pans, and things like that. Today, I'm dyeing with commercial dyes, so I'm using dedicated dye equipment, but I started with food coloring. And so if you enjoy the process of adding color on yarn, a lot of the techniques I do with acid dyes, you can do with food coloring because the overall techniques are the same. And so, yeah, I think that that's a great way to get started. But then, yeah, I have a whole playlist with like Kool-Aid is a fun way to start, but if you can't have that, just regular food coloring and white vinegar, and make sure you have a yarn that is protein-based. I recommend a superwash wool yarn, and then there you can go. But yeah, so I think what my plan is now. So, oh, I should post the link. I did not prep that. Oh, I have it right here. What am I talking about? Okay. 2022. The SMSMS link is also in the video description. The link I just put in the chat will take you to this page right here where you can see the add-ons. The full skein add-ons have 3 different yarn bases. There's a fingering weight, a DK weight, and a non-superwash. It's the same colorway on all 3 of those bases. This is something that I'm doing from now on because sometimes I have 2 different colorways, and sometimes I offer one colorway on multiple different yarn bases. And so from now on, when I have an add-on colorway for one of my sets, if it's the same color on multiple yarn bases, that'll be one listing, and then I'll have a separate listing if it's different. So if I do like a sparkle colorway and a non-sparkle colorway for Hanukkah this year, those will be 2 separate listings to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, all right. I think I want to get started on the dyeing project, so that way we can have that going, and then we will come and then I'll come and spoil the packaging. But anyway, I didn't give my dye-along spiel. For the April ChemKnits dye-along, I picked peacock feathers. And I already dyed a version on some Swish DK yarn. Maybe I will bring that out and show that later. I haven't filmed the dye-along recap for it yet. And I had prepped some Nitpicks gloss fingering weight yarn, which is 70% merino wool, 30% silk. But I didn't have time to dye it. And so I think what I want to do is do a technique similar to what I did in the last dye-along live stream. But first, I'm going to kettle dye the yarn to get some base color there before I layer other colors on top of it. Ooh, will I do a Halloween set? That is a great question. I would love to do a Halloween colorway versus set. That is something that I had planned to do last year and didn't have time for. So I need to rework my summer schedule. There's a possibility I might do some other kind of special thing at the end of the summer, but that's now seeming less and less likely. So I don't know when I'm going to be fitting that in. Because I have an idea, I just need to have time to plan it. So, yeah, but anyway, let's get to the dye pot. Oh, and I can put my Crocs back on. So I have to decide which color to do first. I think I want to start with the chartreuse. So we're going to dye 300 grams of yarn. I have 16 cups of water here in this pot, and I may regret having this much chartreuse, but ooh, it wasn't all dissolved. Oh, that's just a slurry. I should be able to get that. It's just over 1 gram. I think it was like 1.15 grams of each color. And there's no acid in here yet. I'm planning on adding acid, but first I want to rinse out the cup. Sometimes you'll notice me dunking the cup. Oh, I don't have a monitor today, so I didn't bring that down. I should go and get it. So that way I can make sure that I can read the chat while I am up here. I'll be right back. It's like hopefully, okay, good. The iPad did not start auto-playing Moon Knight. Cool. Good morning, everyone. Waiting for it to let me skip the ad. I don't mind people, like, of course, skip ads when they play on YouTube. That's certainly not a thing I have an issue with, but I don't like ad blockers. Because part of how I get paid is from the ads that play. Although if you pay for like YouTube Premium, they do give content creators a cut. So, all right. So we had 16-ish cups of water here. We're gonna add some acid. Gloss is non-superwash, but let's just do 4. And we are gonna get the 300 grams. Okay, there's still some water in it. And I did not think part of this through. There's a little bit of dye on the counter. I'm not gonna worry about that. Oh yes, please hit the like button. Thanks, Beth. Yeah, you engaging with these videos is the best way to help support the content. But I did not consider how I was gonna do this on the counter. I am gonna move the blue that I have prepped back there so I don't knock it over. Oh, that's nice. It might get quite dark. I didn't think about this. What do I want to do? I mean, maybe I won't end up using that blue on it and we'll just pour the blue on. Because for a minute I was like, oh, maybe I should just leave it in. But you can see that the chartreuse is breaking. The color is getting more and more yellow as it goes up. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that all in. I considered dipping it into another color, which we might do, but I also might do that a little bit differently. And leave this yellowish green more towards the top, and then at the other end, the same end we dipped in first, do some of the blue. Or else I might just save that blue and pour it on instead of using the dry powder in that section. But let's go ahead and let this sit for at least 10 minutes. Because I don't have to use up all the dye in this pot. I would like to, but as I mentioned, we might do a leave no dye behind, and so having some extra color in there isn't a problem. So I'm going to come back down and let's see how I want to do this. I've got my spoiler warning. I want to So like I could do picture in picture, but I want to be bigger. So, I mean, I guess that's not going to change dramatically. All right, let me see. Well, I can turn off the spoiler warning for a second. I will do spoilers in a moment. And yeah, Andy also says that to Diamond that a superwashable yarn would be a good one for when you start dyeing. Nitpicks, Stroll, and Swish are both good. I concur. Stroll and Swish are the two yarn bases I've probably dyed more of than anything else. Yeah, monitor, not moderator. Yeah, oh man. Sometimes Keith moderates for me, but like he doesn't join the chat. He'll just be like watching. You just realize you haven't watched yet. Yeah, so if we're talking about ways to help support the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel and the content here, there are many different ways that you can do that. I do have a Patreon, which is sort of like a monthly subscription, and I have some really cool perks. There will be a link to it always in the description of every videos, but you can find that just at patreon.com/chemknits. Liking and subscribing, though, is the biggest thing you can do to help support the channel. The more you engage with the videos, the more YouTube is likely to recommend them to more people. And so as the audience grows, then like the support for me making these videos grows as well. And so, yeah, that is the biggest thing that you can do. But as I had sort of mentioned, my Etsy shop right here is another really huge way that you can help support the content here. And so my shop is filled with hand-dyed yarn. Yes, there is the SMSMS sets, but it won't let me, oh well. But the shop is also filled with hand-dyed yarn that is featured in my videos. There's a huge variety of yarn bases and things like that. So it is just a really just great way to help support things. But the reason why I have a Patreon, and there might be something else coming up soon, is because I know that not everyone needs more yarn. A lot of you are dyeing yarn on your own. And so that is another way to help support the content here. And oh, actually, there is a new feature. But first, Julia, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. There is a little $sign at the bottom of the chat, and those are YouTube super chats. And so it's like a tip jar on videos. No pressure or anything, but it also does let you leave like a highlighted comment in the chat. And so that's fun. So Julia, thank you so much. But speaking of super chats, and I don't know if there's a good way for me to show this. Oops. Let me see if I go to one of my videos. Okay, I'll go to my most recent video and not play that ad, or mute it, and so I can skip the ad. Okay, so web browsing. Okay, so is my mouse showing up? Yes, okay. So there is a new feature that YouTube just added on all of the videos, and that is there's this like new super thanks button, which I guess is like a super chat, but on as a comment. So I'm not really sure how it works, but it does allow you, I guess, to leave some kind of highlighted comment. I haven't tested it or seen it on anyone else's videos, but they just told me about this feature, and so that exists now. So yeah, I have no pressure, but that's a thing that exists that is interesting. All right, but now, oh, wrong camera. Again, wrong camera. There we go. Okay, but now I'm officially going to do some spoilers. Oh, did I miss, how much chartreuse? Yes, I think it was 1.15 grams of dye for the 300 grams of yarn. So a little bit goes a long way, but I am dyeing a silk blend, and so the colors there do tend to look a lot lighter once they dry compared to, say, Stroll. And so, that is something. But anyway, I am now going to spoil some things about the 2022 SMSMS, which this year is the Spring Mini Skein Mini Series. At the end of May, I believe starting on May 23rd, every night there will be a new video all on a theme, and the theme this year is painting rainbows. So every night there will be another rainbow themed dyeing video, and I will be creating 6 skein sets for every night. And so if you order one of the SMSMS sets, for one of the nights you will get a set of 6 20-gram mini skeins, so 120 grams of yarn, plus some fun extras. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you the packaging. And so, because I'm really, really proud of it, and I have more available, and I want people to get it. Da, da, da. Okay, so here is the packaging. Oh, I like that the light that I'm using helps show off the reflection. I'll show those extras out of the package in a moment, but I've packaged the yarn wrapped in tissue paper, and I'm going to make this smaller. There we go. I packaged the yarn wrapped in tissue paper inside this sort of mesh black rainbow bag, so it's on theme. There's different like opaque rainbow threads sort of woven into the bag. I didn't make these bags, but I thought that they could also just be, I like little zipper pouches. So, and I'm out of focus again. I'm out of focus again. Yeah, so I'm very, 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 I had a lot of fun with that. And so each sampler is going to come labeled, which is not showing up super well. It's labeled with the episode number, so this is from night 5, and the date. So the date of night 5 is May 27th. So that way, if you want to wait until the video comes out to open up the yarn, then you have the date. So therefore, you can wait until that night. I'm going to try to do live premieres every night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And so I will be in the live chat room to hang out and react to the videos. Some people I know are opening these up right away, and that is totally fine as well. I will not be posting any yarn spoilers until the day after the video comes out. Now, these sets come with 2 progress keepers that I made that actually inspired the theme. Let me see if I can show these easily. Oh no, that's overexposed. Maybe if I turn, there we go, turn that down, or turn this off. Okay, so one of them is a little painter's palette. And I like to put the progress keepers I make on lobster claws because then they can work for crochet and knitting. These lobster claws are big enough that they should fit on, I mean, they wouldn't fit, I haven't checked the biggest knitting needle they fit on. They wouldn't fit on like a size 11 knitting needle, but I use them like on size 6s and stuff all the time. The other progress keeper is a glittery rainbow. There we go. Where is it? It's a little glittery rainbow. And so I've had those progress keepers for a little while. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do like a whole rainbow series. And so I actually held them for this because I was like, oh, painting rainbows. Andy, what's wrong? What's wrong? Is your friend outside? We're not going, no, we're not doing that right now. He goes over one. I'm like, did he understand? Let's see. Let's check on the yarn. And then I'll come back to the spoilers. This is why timers are good. They keep me honest. Okay, there's just a hair of color left. Almost all the color is in the yarn, which if I was going to, what's the word? If I was going to steam set, or like if this was the end of the colorway, then I would probably leave it in longer, but we can go ahead and move on very shortly. But first, I want to finish these spoilers. Because in addition to those progress keepers, you may have noticed something inside the bags. And so the first thing is a ChemKnits logo sticker, but it's like a holographic foil. And I like this because, like, the thing I like about my logo and the reason why the yarn is most often shown in white is, or like without the color, is because there's possibilities when you're dyeing your own yarn. And so that's the thing I really like about this holographic sticker, is it kind of represents the possibilities that you can have. And so, yeah, so there's one of these in every, I'm out of focus, but that shows off the rainbow really well, right? I'm waiting for focus to come back. Yeah, so there's one of those in every set. And then finally, something that I have been talking about, but haven't done in a while. And this isn't, the camera's not going to do it justice, but I have a rainbow anodized, but it's mostly like blue and purple, a rainbow anodized ChemKnits logo pin. And again, I did the yarn in white because of the possibilities with dyeing. You can create your own color. That's what we explore. You can see more of the rainbow hues because of the way that like it's treated sort of like around the edge. This is not a good picture of the pin, but it's like shiny. And I would say it's mostly, well, right now it's mostly like purple at the center, and then it goes to some blue at the outside with then some hints of yellow and red. And so, yeah, there will be a couple of these that when the series starts, I will add some of these without the yarn to the shop, but I don't have very many outside of the sets. And so, yeah, so now you can rep your like ChemKnits fandom around, put it on a project bag. It does have two pins with like a soft cover, so that way if you do put it on a project bag, it shouldn't catch anything. But it also says ChemKnits Creations on the back. So I got a back stamp, and it's in the same font as my logo. So anyway, that's the set. I'm very, very, very proud of them. I'm super proud of the yarn and the video projects. I haven't been in focus for a moment. This camera really does not like it if I move. Wow. Okay, let me see. I'm going to manually do this. Of course, now it's in focus when I go to manually change it. What was I saying? I'm proud of the yarn too. I haven't edited the videos yet, but the projects are extremely varied in the different both colors that I'm using and the kinds of things I'm using, techniques I'm using to create the sets. And so it's a lot of fun. Well, the progress keepers could also be put on a keychain or something too. If you say, I mean, they could also be useful for weaving sometimes if you wanted to mark something when you're counting. So if you do, they could be useful for a lot of different fabric crafts. Your favorite stitch marker was the Hanukkah 2021. Was that the yarn in the jar? That's one of my favorites ever too. Because when did I do, did I do the logo one last year? That was last summer maybe. They all blend together. I do have like a jewelry display thing with all the progress keepers I've done before, but I don't always remember which one was from which set. But yeah, so there are more of these available. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat again. But yeah, and I do have, why is this not working? 22. Oh, the coin. Ah, yes, that was fun. The 3D printed coin. Well, that's something that the Gelt may make another appearance of some kind. Not to give spoilers, actually. I'm doing a few different like handmade charms for Hanukkah this year. But I might 3D print another one because that was really fun. All right, I'm gonna go put this away so I don't lose it. But anyway, I'm very, I can hide the spoiler now. I'm very, very excited about all of it. And so the series this year is going to be a total of 7 videos. There are going to be 5 mini skein set videos. Technically, the 2 Die Pot Weeklies that week are also related, so we'll go in the playlist, but there aren't sets from those. Technically, there's 5 main dyeing videos, 1 video when I dye both the bonus blanks and the add-on skeins, and then there'll be some kind of vlog. I don't know how much footage I have, but there will be a vlog at the end where I go through like all the packaging and stuff. So, but anyway, let's get back to our project. So that way, and I love that I can see the steam. That means that is still working. So now to the side, I have some bright aqua. I know that I said at one point I should use frozen instead, but I have the bright aqua, and I'm considering, because we're going to layer on a lot of colors, I'm considering layering just a little bit of the bright aqua towards the bottom and dipping into that. And in fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. But let's see. Cool. Oh, thank you, someone. Okay, I'm going to get my steam pan and just kind of plop it right there. And I don't need to remove all the liquid, but I'm going to take this to the side. So the reason why I'm doing this, and the color is not perfectly even, but it is giving us a little bit more color coverage to start with than maybe we would have had otherwise. And so that was something that I said last time that I wanted to try. And I'm going to try to only use, I also have about 1.15 or 1.2 grams of the bright aqua. And I'm not measuring how much of it I'm using. I'm only adding just a bit of it. And goodness, we could create a whole peacock feather with just dip dyeing. That would be pretty awesome. Okay, but this time I'm not going to go in nearly as far. Oh dear. But see, we may decide that we want a little more, because doing that is making it more green, but not like absurdly more green. So yeah, but I think what I'm going to do is just leave it like that for a little bit. And so we'll get, and who knows, we may layer so much color on top of this that it doesn't matter. Maybe I want to put a little bit more in. There's a lot of green. We could always add a little bit more blue, but yeah, let's add a little more blue. As I very carefully and awkwardly lean over, add it, and then I'm stirring it. So this just might make things be a little bit more green. And that's fine, because we're going to add teal and blue and things on top. I am going to add 3 more tablespoons of white vinegar, and I'll set a timer for 10 minutes. And even if that color hasn't all set, in about 10 minutes, we'll transfer all the yarn into this catering steam pan that I've balanced here, and then start layering on more color that way. What temperature is my hot plate on? Turn it up to 5. But anyway, yay. Anyway, and now I can come up with my, there, and I can watch it. Oh, that looks really pretty. I like that. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you like the packaging and stuff. It was just, I have a lot of fun doing it and like coming up with like different ideas, and I'm always like thinking about other things. And I did mention at one point that maybe I was considering a late summer thing, but we've got some travel and some guests staying here for a while, and so I don't know conceivably how I would do with the dyeing. I probably should have dyed it already, so maybe I'll start thinking about Halloween instead. That probably makes more sense for me to plan out and dye at Halloween before trying to add another series for the end of the summer. So maybe I'll just push off this other idea until like a year from now, spring, which is a little sad, but I don't want to overdo it. But yeah, feel free in the chat to leave me any questions you may have about dyeing, ChemKnits, all kinds of other things. I am happy to do my best to answer. As I grab from far off the camera my Starlight Coke Zero. Not sponsored, and I don't know why I like it so much, but it's like my special treat every couple days. I like that the cans are so tiny that I feel less guilty. Oh goodness, what else is going on? Oh yeah, because the spring, I was like, something is coming up in May that has got me, yeah, I have to start editing. But I do have another like tiny little project that we'll see how that goes. I just like started that yesterday. And so, yeah, I have no idea. It's certainly something that I'm going to enjoy, and hopefully it'll allow me to do. And so then if other people want to join in, that's fine. And if not, that's fine too. And I'm like, I'm being cryptic. Oh, speaking of other things that I said that from recently. So on Sunday, I unboxed my April Paradise Fibers package. One, I think the sock knit and crochet club from Knit Crate arrived yesterday. So the April one arrived May 3rd. It came in like a bag with other packaging, so I'm not sure what was going on with last month. I think the other one is still on the way. I will probably hold them until the May Paradise Fibers package arrives. But it did arrive, like, not within April, but very, very close. So you have things on your counter ready to dye your peacock feather. Yay! Just getting some more hints. Oh, fun. Yeah, I really like the way the other yarn came out. I kind of wish that it was a little bit more saturated, but I mean, the feathers aren't always like super saturated. There's like lighter patches in them if you've had one and like look at it. So it still works, but yeah, part of me just wished I pushed it a little bit more. They said they sent bags. Okay, there's a delay with the yarn in Peru. That can make some sense. Because I think in the past they had said that, but this one, like, since it arrived in like a gray bag or like a white poly mailer thing, I looked at it and I was like, I wasn't sure if it was the Sock Knit and Crochet Club or if Knit Crate was sending me something else. Because sometimes they send me like, I'm a Knit Crate affiliate, so sometimes they send me like extra stuff to try out or to dye and things like that. So, Great question. Is the process of dyeing a worsted Aran weight different than dyeing the smaller weights? No and yes. So it depends a little bit on the technique. A lot of times a worsted weight yarn, the plies themselves might be a little bit thicker. And so therefore you can have some things may work better because it's a little thicker, like getting glazed yarn as I go out of focus. Okay, can I just do an autofocus or like a non-autofocus? Where are you? Okay, hopefully when I wonder later why I'm a little out of focus, I will remember that I just made it manual. So hopefully I'm not, if that's so bad, but I'm small right now, so hopefully that's not bad. So with a worsted weight yarn, the plies can be a little thicker, which can make it easier to get a glazed effect because there's more yarn that is not at the surface area. And so therefore getting something to strike just the surface area and not the interior can be a little bit easier and a little bit more dramatic. And so that's one case where it can be easier. A lot of times, also though, since the plies tend to be a little bit thicker, there's a little bit less twist to them, which means that with similar fiber content, if you're going to do, say, speckles, the speckles may spread more on a thicker yarn than they do a thinner yarn. Not always, but that can be something you can see in like a side-by-side. And that's just because of the size of the plies and therefore the amount of twist that's there and the resist that that twist provides to the yarn. No, tennis ball has been mostly retired. This is a Keo camera that was like highly recommended as a face cam for streaming. It has a ring light attached to it, which is nice, especially if I'm like sitting in a place where I'm far from the other lights. But yeah, it, I think, is used to someone who is sitting in a chair versus someone who's like moving forward, moving back, holding things up to the camera and things like that. So I may, when I use the camera that I'm using on the counter as the face cam, like for unboxings, that works a little better. I did get a second one of those, but I'm liking having everything on the countertop, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, tennis ball has been mostly retired. If anyone is curious, one of my old webcams has a tennis ball sticker on it, so that way I could differentiate that one from the other one that I was using, because one I like to use on the stovetop, and that one just occasionally would freeze the video, and probably because it was the one always on the stove, and so exposure to steam probably finished that one. Yeah, and so I don't dye worsted weight yarn as much because not as many people purchased hand-dyed worsted weight yarn. The things, I sell the most sock yarn and then DK. And I dye a lot more sock yarn, so I like kind of struggle to keep a good inventory of the DK weight yarn because I feel like, because I don't dye it as often, it tends to sell a lot faster, and then left like, yeah, so sometimes I pick the colors I dye based on like, okay, I have a lot of like pastel pinks in my shop, so I'm not going to dye a pastel pink yarn right now. And so sometimes I make choices like that. But anyway, I do enjoy dyeing thicker yarns. The other thing I will note is that it's, if I'm speckling, so like speckles will be sharper on even fingering weight sometimes than DK, but it can be easier to get a coverage I'm happy with on the DK weight yarn because since there are fewer strands, it's easier to get coverage without stuff being like stuck in the middle. So that is there. Do you know why there isn't worsted with stellina? You love the sparkles, but you have your limits when it comes to very thin yarn. That is a great, great question. And it could be because there isn't as much demand. I do know that Knitcrate has had worsted weight stellina yarn in the past in the Knitcrate, but they didn't have it over on Dyer Supplier, which Oh, dyer supplier. Oh, I'm gonna just go straight to this camera and I'll keep talking. Poor dyer supplier. I said this, and I think they just announced it in their Facebook group, but dyer supplier is going to take a bit of a break. They are taking a little bit of a break, and I think they're just having too much trouble getting yarn from their mills in Europe and stuff like that. And so, okay, there's still a lot of color in the pot, but I am removing the yarn because I want to go ahead and get started layering these colors on. We may still choose to layer on some chartreuse, but we also might not. And so what I'm going to do is I need to think about this a moment. Okay, I'm going to take the yarn to the stove, and I'm going to add my Yarn Mop pre-soak water, which has water with vinegar, and I don't know the proportions. So it's water with a splash of vinegar. And then we're going to do a swap. Now, I did something that is something I don't recommend, and I added room temperature water to hot yarn. That is something that is not ideal, but I didn't want to put a pan on without having liquid in, and I didn't want to transfer that residual blue onto all of this. I will move the camera in a moment so that way gotta think. Oh, I was looking at the monitor and I'm like, wait, why didn't it do anything? And I'm like, oh, that's because there's a delay. Okay, that has me a little bit more on camera. Okay. So now I have both burners on, and we're gonna let this heat up a bit. It's gonna take a little bit of some time. I do have a yarn mop you can see right here. And for colors, let me get out the colors we're gonna use. So I have the chartreuse and the sea spray out, but we're also gonna use peacock blue, a teal green, and a little bit of some electric violet. And so I have the other dye powder colors out already, and so we will play with all these to make our peacock. But the thing I'm excited about is that this time, if there are gaps, and this green right here isn't perfect, so I'm gonna do a lot more coverage of some of the colors over there. But the good thing is that if there are gaps, then we'll get some of those like feather yellows and greens popping through. And so I'm excited about that because that will mean that if there's a flip and I see color left, it's not gonna be white. And so I'm happy starting with that. To camera. Let me be the first to demand. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello from Kansas. I'm in Massachusetts. And actually, let me check something. I mentioned Dyer Supplier is taking a break. I think I mentioned to them before how people like a sparkle. There is sparkle decay, but let me see. I'm gonna check to see what Wool to Dye For has available in a while. Because they have a sparkle decay. What is Angel Select Sparkle? Whoa, that's alpaca silk cashmere, Selena? What? I'm like, what? Let me see. Where did I put it? Nope, that's not the right. Is there a Angel Select sample scheme? Yes. So if you have a wholesale account, you can get sample schemes. But let's search for Stellina again. Actually, like fiber, will that be in here? No. Okay, so they have the Sparkle DK, which I have dyed recently, and this is the Sparkle DK is a merino silk Stellina blend, and it's gorgeous, and I want more of it, and it's out of stock. Darn it. I was just thinking I need to buy some of it. So they have a Sparkle Lace, and there's the Sparkle DK Superwash. I still haven't tried the bronze. I have a sample of that. This is a DK weight, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% Stellina. And that is also something that I should have more of because I should have at least a DK weight option. There's Sparkle Blanks that I knew. Sheila's Sparkle, Sheila's Glitter. I like both of those. What is... Oh, that's a sample skein. Wait, that's in stock? Interesting. Sparkle DK Superwash sample. Sparkle Select. Singles Sparkle. Interesting. What are you? Nice. It's just Superwash Merino Stellina. Yeah, and so I guess that's all they have. So no worsted weight one. But I was like, if there was going to be a brand that had one, Wool to Die For is one of, it's not the biggest, but it is like one of the probably most used suppliers of bear yarn. They have a huge amount of variety. Worsted weight bear yarn, Stellina. Wonder if Ashland Bay might have some. I don't know. But yeah, that's something that, like, whenever, like, Knit Crate has, like, a blend that has Stellina. Oh, yeah, they had a bulky weight one with it, which was, like, a weird yarn. That was one that I over-dyed. But I was like, I want more things with sparkle, you know? Good evening. Hello, all the way from Australia. Woo! Midnight. My brain does not work that well that late. But okay, so I'm seeing hot. Oh, you know which side is hot? Because I got all excited. But that's because this burner was hot already. The other side will be cold. So, oh dear. So what we're going to do is flip it around because one side, this side is definitely still heating up. That side is at least warm. And so that way we can get that side to warm up a bit. And then we can get started. I was like, hold up. I was like, that is faster than I expected. Hello, Pacific Northwest. I have a wedding in Portland later this year. Not my wedding, but I will be a wedding guest. And I've got adorable, they still, I guess, need shirts, but I just got them bow ties and suspenders. And they have blazers. I'm like super excited. They're not like in the wedding. I think the wedding itself is going to be very casual, but I'm like, let's dress up these kids. We have not done anything in a while. Ooh, Outback, Queensland. So I'm getting all excited. I spent a semester at UQ, and we did a farm stay in Blackbutt, maybe? There was a farm. They the whole program, they dropped like a bunch of us. We did like homestays, and so we were on like a little farm. But I don't remember where that was exactly. So, Have I dyed the super chunky roving yarn? From which brand? I have dyed, say, something like, here, I can show. And when the garbage truck is gone, then I will let you out, okay? So I don't think that the other one exists anymore, but I have dyed this. I've dyed Knitpicks Tough Puff, which again, all of Knitpicks is 20% off. I have that pinned in the chat. I am an affiliate. There's no coupon code. Everything that can be marked down is marked down. But I've dyed Tough Puff in mint, and I've also dyed the white version a number of times. I actually dyed it in orange to knit a project, and so I do have a video. I dyed it, I think, a burnt orange using food coloring a while ago. There used to be one that was even thicker, that was jumbo, but I don't think that they have any jumbo weight yarn anymore. Jumbo bobbins! I want jumbo bobbins. Sorry. I got a little excited. So not too far from where you were? Yeah. Because I was 20 years old, so we were like, we're going to Blackbutt. Ha ha ha. And yeah. But the family was super, super nice. Super nice. And it was like, it was just a lot of fun. I remember, well, so we went to like a wildlife reserve, and it was like a fun, it wasn't the first weekend. The first weekend we had like an orientation and stuff, but then they dropped us off before taking us. I lived at St. John's College in Brisbane. Like that's where I was staying, and so that was also really fun because like, yeah, I mean they made fun of us as Americans, but they were very, very nice. Oh yes. I have some, because of the new reusable nylon zip ties I've been using, some of them are like super neon, which I'm just like, this looks like surprising. The one thing I've never had is I've never had the zip ties release color onto a project, but I know some other people have, and so I haven't seen that. Oh yeah, don't worry, Val. And I should do another worsted weight video, and I can talk about that in a pre-filmed video as well. So timestamp wise, I don't remember when I answered that. Oh, but wait a minute, we can see. Because, okay, sometime between the first 41 minutes and hour is sometime in there where I answered it. So hopefully that would help. Ooh, I want to see some tutorials about speckling on yarn that is dyed first and set. Is that possible? Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, actually, I could do a overdying. Yeah, that's absolutely something you can do. I have dyed yarn, dried it, and then dyed that yarn again. That is something that you can do just in general. And so you could overdye a commercial colorway with speckles. In fact, let's go to the Nitpicks sale, and that's not where it is. That is also not where it is. Let's pick something out. Let's pick a color that would be fun to add speckles to. Let's find a stroll. Cause like I could do it on one of these, but these are already, ooh, I like that one. These are already reskeined, and so that's not as fun. But ooh, we could get a stroke tonal maybe. That could be fun. I mean, these are reskeined as well, but ooh. Oh, this would be a fun. Ooh, these are really on sale. These are more than 20% off. Yeah, so let's do Frozen. Oh, Frozen would be a good one to over dye. Oh, goodness. All right, I'm going to go dye, but then we'll come back and think about which one of those I might want to order. So those won't be an additional 20% off from the sale. Nope, this is where I want to be. But actually, I should let the dog out. Hey, Indy, come. Indy! You want to say hi real quick? Indy, up. Look. Okay, you're going to go outside, and then you're going to go in your crate. Okay, let's go outside. Whoa! Okay, he came in and he like knocked my hand up. All right, honey, you gotta let me change the camera. You gotta let me change the camera. Oh. All right, Indy Bonks. Indy, go potty. No, don't go far. Go potty. You go potty. Good boy. Good boy. I know. I know. No, honey. That's not happening right now. All right. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. All right. I'm back. All right, let's see. Overdying. Yes, please. More overdying videos would be awesome. You recently got a mystery bag with a few yucky yellow brownish colors. Baby poop. Nose boops for the chem dog. Oh, the chem dog. That's so cute. All right, since I'm going to be playing with dry dye powders, I'm now going to put on my respirator mask, safety glasses, and gloves. So my voice will become more muffled. And so if I can see the chat, if you need me to speak up or get a little bit softer because there's too much like reverb from the mask, let me know and I will try to adjust. Okay, I should remember that this yarn is non-superwash and treated accordingly. But actually, we've got a bright aqua, and I'm just curious. Yeah, that's going to look pretty green, huh? May as well do this on all the skeins. I was just curious what it might do. What if I did a little bit down here? It's looking more teal, but still not quite blue. So we might not have that color. I do want the inspiration photo, I think. So that way I can see it. Yeah, I mean, not having that color isn't going to be the end of the world. All right. It's always worth doing color checks. Let's go ahead and, you know where we're going to start? With some purple, because I'm not sure how this will do on this yarn. And I do have a yarn mop right here. I could have picked a pinker purple, but actually this isn't bad even on the green. I may want some more of it like as we go through, but that's really not bad. I think I might add a little bit more to intensify it, but I'm not going to be doing the purple like all over necessarily. So
I don't have a steamer basket set up yet, but this yarn mop could always just go into that bright aqua pot that we have. I do want to move the dye through so it gets through a few more layers, because we will need to wait. This is the thing I always forget. We will need to wait longer between flips because this yarn is not superwash. And so that is something to keep in mind, and therefore I'm just going to add a little more acid. Okay, but I started with the purple because I wanted to make sure to get that hue in there, even if it's not all the way through. And now I'm coming in with the peacock blue, going fairly heavy and a bit all over, because this and the teal are the two colors that I want the most of. And this peacock blue is not a particularly bright blue. And I don't mind if we do end up with some speckles, but you'll notice that like I am letting it just sit for a moment before I move it through. The purple was electric violet. I could have picked a redder purple, but I wanted to stick with the same palette that I started with last time. And we will be layering on more and more color as time goes on. And so the nice thing, I'm happy with like that green. So like if it's patchy, then some of those greens are going to show through, and that'll be really, really nice. Oh, I need to work these through. Actually, what is that doing? I may end up wanting more down there, but I'm not mad at it. I have no idea how well this is going to work. I should have taken a picture of the yarn before I started doing all this, but you know, you know how it goes. Okay, now I've got the teal green. And one reason why I wanted to do this with some silk is because I think that it would help the yarn feel almost iridescent, because it does have a little bit of shine to it. But I'm going pretty heavy here. I'm being very heavy-handed. But again, I don't think that the dyes are going to go all the way through. They may, and you know what? That is okay. But I wanted there to be able to be some pops of other color without being as deliberate as having like zip ties for a resist. And so this time, if I have some pops of the other colors, I'm going to leave it a bit, but also I'm trying to get some coverage. So something in between, but the colors are going to strike slower. So who knows if we will be moving on to the next part or not. But see, there's tons of color as I lift up my zip tie. I'm curious, you know, we may have really good color penetration here as well, because if the colors aren't striking as fast, then it is allowing them to move in a bit more. So I'm going to set a timer, I think, for 15 minutes, and then we'll check in. And I do have a plan. Let's see. This is really pretty. I will take a picture of the yarn here in a moment. Timer.
after 15 minutes, there is still a lot of color in here. What I'm gonna do is, if the color is blue, then I might just go ahead and flip it. If the color is purple, then I will move this to the gas stove to heat off camera. And then we'll play around with some leave no dye behind stuff that I have going on. So. And I'll share a picture of this to my stories, but I actually think for once it's feeling pretty accurate on what I see on the iPad at least. So let's share you to my stories. Cool. Aww. Okay, wait, I already did that. Yeah, because we've got that. Oh, I kind of wanted a steamer basket. So this is what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna wait. There's not that much dye on the yarn mop. And who knows, maybe we'll use that for the leave no dye behind. I don't know, I haven't decided. All right, let's do some shopping. But if you want to check out my Instagram, I'm just at ChemKnits on Instagram. I'll pop it in the chat as well. But yeah, I wonder what color I should get to do speckles on, because a lot of these would work well. I wouldn't get Train Station, although this would be really, really fun to over dye. I kind of want to over dye it. It wouldn't work well for speckles. Ooh, Raven, that's pretty. Also wouldn't work for speckles. Okay, I guess I can talk about what would be good for over dyeing. So the colors that are bright, so Blue Yonder could work well. Even Guppy could work well for some speckles. Bright colors or pastel colors are the best for over dyeing. If you have a color that is really saturated, so say Pansy, this looks like it's fairly vibrant. It would be hard, not impossible. You could get speckles on this, and you could potentially even over dye it with a blue to make it a little bit less pink. But there's enough pigment in there already that you're not going to be able to take this color and turn it into a lime green. That's not going to happen. So you do have to consider the base color of what you have when you're going to go over it. You could take, now we could take this poppy field color and potentially turn it into a purple. It would have to be a dark purple. It would probably be muted because we'd have to use a lot of other colors to bring it to tone down that yellow. But in theory, it's possible. Depends on how saturated it is. So it is technically possible, not necessarily easy to do. It would probably be like much more of a reddish purple kind of thing, but you could move it from where it is. But the more pastel, like this seashell color, would be really easy. So Paradise Fibers is like hours from Portland, so unfortunately I'm not gonna, that's not in the cards for this trip. I would have loved to have done that. I did look and see, and I'm like, you know, if it was an hour away, then I probably could have done it, and I think that my family would have been on board with doing that, but it's too far to have it work in this time frame. You ended up speckling purple pop on your yarn too. Oh, fun! Muse, I really like Muse yarn. That's really fun. Okay, so so to overdye with speckles. Oh, but this blue violet color is also really nice. Oh, it's popping up more. Ooh. I mean, okay, maybe I'll get 2 frozen. And 2 blue yonder. The train station, I'm a little bit tempted by, but I don't think I'm going to do it. It's like, shop with me. Oh gosh. Oh, let me check on the countertop for a moment. Because I'm hearing, and we're seeing some good bubbling. So I'm going to reduce that. It's definitely warmer down there than it is over here. It's only been about 5 minutes. Well, that's a good sign. Okay, so see, there's some teal there, but like if the colors left are blue, as I said, I'm okay moving it. It's the purples that I wouldn't have wanted to take over. And here's the thing. Okay, there's some purples over there. Because we're dealing with dry powder, sometimes there could be some colors that aren't like soaking in and things like that. So we're moving in the right direction. It might need like more time before a flip. And so that's why just having a spoon, and the reason why I like this one, like a white spoon would be easier to see the color, but most white spoons are plastic and plastic melts. So, and plastic also stains more than stainless steel. Hot pinks over the orange yarn. Ooh, that could be pretty. No, I don't want that. You mean the poppy fields? Here, I'll go back to the shopping page. Because this orange, the guppy, it's a light coral to a dense orange. Yeah, I think that some pink speckles could show up on that pretty nicely. I do have, like, I did pick some safe choices. So I'll edit my cart down. I'll consider the poppy fields. Actually, I could have 3 different colors. Ooh, this is a fun idea. I could have 3 different colors of starting yarn. Future Rebecca is going to be like, Rebecca, what were you doing? But I could do 3 different colors of starting yarn and speckle with the same colors on it. That could be fun. Like, video ideas. I should go through my knit crate stash and overdye more of it just because it's fun. But, oh, I want to keep an eye on the yarn. Keep an eye on the yarn. Oh, goodness. Wait, what? As like I see things like pop up. I need to do that. I have not RSVP'd for that. Sorry, everyone. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. There is, so I have another story. Oh, great. So I made personalized tumblers for every single teacher at my kids' school. And I'm not going to show, like, I would love to show a picture of them because, like, it would be super fun, but just for privacy reasons, like, I wouldn't say the name of my kid's school. Like, yeah. But they change color when you add ice. And so, but I was really nervous. I was really, really nervous that I would have made a mistake. I was nervous that I could have misspelled someone's name, or that, even though, like, I checked the list as I was, like, first printing the names, and then checked the list as I applied the names, I was nervous that, like, that someone was going to be left out. And so, but I also didn't want to be too, like, hey, look at me, I did this. Like, give me thanks when it's from like all parents, right? But I decided to, we added some like Crystal Light, like drink packets and stuff in them. And we had 3 blank ones that I put out, and I left a little note that was like, search for your name, but if you don't find it, send me an email. And I'm so glad that I did, because I was able to, there was a new teacher that started who therefore wasn't on my list, and so she was like, hey, would it be possible for me to get one? And I'm like, oh, absolutely. So I'm really, really glad I left my email, because I don't want anyone to be sad. And then also one other teacher couldn't find theirs, or she was looking for one for, I guess, another teacher in her department. And I was able to look at my list and I'm like, okay, her cup's either teal or green. And so, because I kept track, because that was the other problem. So we had like 100 cups, and if you've used a Cricut before, when you have a list of names, it's not necessarily going to cut things in order. It's going to maximize the placement of them, so that way you use like there's as little waste as possible. So all the names were jumbled up, and so therefore I'm like, do we alphabetize these? We could have put them in the mailboxes, but then they wouldn't be as pretty. And so hopefully it was not hard for people to find their names. That was the one thing I was worried about, but it was a lot of fun, and the teachers really liked it, and so I'm really excited. Ooh, good question. Is there any way to remove dye from yarn? You're saying some darn good yarn that's beautiful, but that has blobs of chunky dye. So if there's blobs of chunky dye, do you mean like chunky color splotches? Because if there's actual physical dye left on the yarn, I would try soaking it and like try to rinse that out. But otherwise, there's not really a good way to remove color from yarn. I once did like Day of the Undyed Yarn. I think it was like it was either Halloween or the day after Halloween one day, and I used RIT color remover on both wool and acrylic yarn to try to, first I wanted to try to see if I could reverse speckle with it. That didn't work. Then I just started adding more and more to see if I could strip color from dark yarn so we could potentially over dye it. And I have to say, it completely ruined the yarn. This might be the one time I actually threw away yarn, because I'm like, this isn't salvageable. I don't know what's in it, and so there really is not a good way to remove color without damaging the yarn. I did do, another video I have is I did an OxyClean test on Woolton's Violet, on food coloring dyed yarn, just to show that like, hey, this isn't just going to all come out if you treat it with a stain treater or like overnight or a couple days. And some color did come out, but it also did affect the texture of the yarn. But most of the color did remain in the yarn. So yeah, there's not a good way. So the problem with using baking soda in a hot water bath on a wool yarn is that, yeah, so bleach would eat the yarn. So you definitely don't want to use bleach because it'll dissolve the fibers. But the problem with using a high pH on wool yarn is it will also start to damage the fibers. And so I used, like, if you use soda ash on wool, like, you can get okay results. They'll be more muted than cotton. But in general, like, protein fibers like at acidic conditions better. So, but yeah, so over dyeing is always a better choice than trying to remove the color, but it's unfortunate when there's like something you don't like. And yeah, I once bought like a Nitpicks mystery pack because I'm like, okay, I want to over dye everything that's in it. And I received so many saturated colors, and I received a lot of black, and I was like, no! I want to over dye it, and so black yarn you cannot over dye. It's just, yeah, you won't really see it. I did try once to, I think I dyed neon yarn and then I over dyed it with black to see if we would still see the like fluorescence. But the black absorbs, the color black absorbs light, and so like it didn't really work. Nope. There we go. Okay, let's see. Angie said, it's recycled silk. You haven't tried anything yet other than being upset about it. Oh, and they said the dark dye splotches on the sparkly pastel yarn was intentional. Yeah, so I mean, you could try seeing if it would bleed out with like warm, like heated up slowly to see if it would bleed out. It's possible that a lot of the pigment will bleed out on the silk, just in general. But okay, so I still see some blue. I will say I'm seeing a lot more teal than blue, which isn't bad. That's a lot of blue right there. Okay, but our purple seems to be pretty good. There's still dye there, but I think that I'm going to want to pump up our peacock volume, potentially get another blue. So peacock is a tiny bit muted. And it's like, Rebecca, remember that this is non-superwash yarn. Let's see, we might have some fun like pops of green and stuff. So I do want to do a little bit more purple, but I might do it in a slightly different spot than what I did last time. And I'm bringing out my big guns. By big guns, I mean a little bit of extreme blue. Because it's very pigmented. Okay, but let's start with a hint more purple, just so we have some on this side as well. And by a hint, I actually mean that I kind of want a lot, but I want a lot of it in a small area. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm not trying to spread it very far. Okay. And now I want to use, because yeah, I think the peacock blue over here is giving very, very teal vibes, which is totally fine. But I'm going to do, for my own reference, just some peacock blue here. And I might come back to it and do more. And I might decide I don't like the extreme blue. I did debate on which color I should use as a base, but like having more teal than blue isn't necessarily a bad thing. But anyway, sometimes you gotta edit as you go. All right, extreme blue, come in. Can we overwhelm this color? Just using a bit there. I have it all over my hand. I'm going to need to get a steamer basket set up after this before round 3. And
are we looking blue? We might actually have something that feels like it's blue. Yes, it is a bit more blue now. So that's good. I can use that there and still use some teal. Okay, I want to get my steamer basket set up because the yarn mop is going to need it. Where is your basket? Am I using the small pot or the big pot? Where's my other pot? Okay, I'm using the small pot. And so then I need the small lid. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, I've got that going over on the stove. All right. Hey guys, I see the, thanks everybody.
Okay, did it do it? Well, that's not enough. Uh-oh. Thank you everybody, but I'm trying to see. Goodness, all right, well maybe if I redo. Wait, does it say that for? Sorry about that, everyone. But like, why is it not hiding it? This is annoying. I try not to, okay, comment on things. Yeah, Melanie, that was my doing, but then I had to like do shenanigans to hide the username. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that anymore because when one troll comes, more follow, and yeah. But thank you all. Yeah, so it wasn't enough for me to hide them from the channel. I had to actually like report every single comment to have it deleted. Which was, they're getting smarter by having the span in their username. Sorry, Dave. All right, let's get back to our yarn. No, but I don't, Andy, I don't think it did it until I physically went in and did it as a moderator.
out of my control. I just am sorry that I didn't notice it sooner. But this is why I also don't have the chat in the stream where it can be seen, unfortunately, because of that. So, annoying people. All right, let's go in. Ooh, that's a lot of blue. I feel like this one's going to be so much more saturated than the other one was. So I don't want to cover up the purple, but, and then we'll add more teal down there. I definitely don't want to cover up the purples, but I don't want there to be too much green. But yes, because beautiful, beautiful yarn. I don't even know how much of the yarn mop is on camera. Okay. I need to remember next time I do the hot plate to not put it so far into the counter because I'm struggling a little bit to see. Just because, yeah, or like I have to stand on tiptoe a little bit strangely. All right, I think that color is helping a little bit with the base. It's giving a little bit like deep color, but it's a dark color, so it's fine. Ooh. Part of me was like, ooh, I could use some sea breeze. I'll do that in a moment. Let's get some teals. I'm going a lot lighter with the teal this time because I don't mind if some of these yellows remain. And once again, I am wearing my safety glasses and gloves and totally got powder on the counter, but that's why I protect my work surface. I protect the work surface, and yeah, this is just going to potentially make more of a mess right now because the yarn mop has not been set. Okay. But yeah, we're getting the point with the yarn mop where when I go to white, I get more dye on my hands, so there is that. All right, but now let's come in and bring these in, and then we'll get the bright aqua. Oh, hopefully I didn't overcover too much of the other purples I had. I guess if I did, it is what it is. Let's try just some little bits of this bright aqua. I'm even coming in with my fingers. I don't know how much or if anything that's going to do, or if it's even going to be on all three skeins. Let's try to get some down on this third. Just like a hint. Oh, I should go on the yarn mop. A hint of color. Okay, we are going to wait 15 minutes. Uh, 15 minutes, and then Oh, I did not set a timer yet. Yeah, so
the unfortunate thing with YouTube is that they give a lot more power to moderate. They give a lot of power to moderators, which is good, but they do not look at individual reports very quickly, mainly because I think that they don't want someone with an unpopular opinion to get like ganged up on, but like, yeah, it makes it frustrating. And it's hard when it's like, it's harder when it's a profile picture or a channel name as well, because those don't get picked up on as easily. But in general, the best thing, oh, that looks so pretty. Oh my gosh. I want a screenshot. It's not gonna be a good screenshot though. Oh. It's a really bad screenshot. So in general, which we don't seem to be like having a secondary issue, but in general, I try to ignore and react as little as possible. So yeah, because if they know you react, then they'll just make a new account and come back. Yeah, so it wasn't, even with everyone else reporting it, I had to physically go through and not just delete them from the channel, because that didn't actually hide the username. That removed all the comments, but the comments were just emotes, so those weren't a problem. The problem was everything else. So, don't like spam bots. But anyway, I really like what this colorway is doing. It's going to be a lot darker than the other one. Much darker. But, nope, I want to... I don't think... There we go. Cool. All right, I need something. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Well, that's heating. Did I finish my drink? I think I did, because I don't see it under here anymore. I wanted to get the yarn I dyed last time. Oh, good, I did put the yarn mop in. The yarn mop is a skein of Swish DK, if anyone is curious. I feel like a cut on my hand. All right, so this was the yarn mop last time. So this sort of shows off all of the different colors that we're using. And then this is the peacock yarn we dyed last time. It's a lot of teal with hints of blue, purple, and green. So it's very pretty. It could have been more saturated. There are a few like pastel areas because like I can always just keep adding more and more color. But I'm very, very happy with it. I think it's very pretty. And so, yeah. This will be in the live stream recap. So it will. I better go turn down the steamer basket. But yeah, it almost feels like I have a splinter. So yeah, so this one is going to be very bright because it doesn't have the chartreuse. The mop doesn't have any chartreuse on it, I don't think. potentially a tiny amount. But thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh, man. But speaking of over dyeing, another thing I have considered doing that I haven't done yet is to, and oh yeah, check out the SMSMS. If you have not already, I showed spoilers of it earlier in the video, spoilers of the packaging. So I popped that back in. But I have considered going through my own shop and getting yarn to over dye, even though I like a lot of it. But you know, there are some, I think that one is like very light speckled. There are some pastels that I could take and over dye, even though I like them. It would make me a little bit sad to over dye, but I end up with like a lot of pinks and reds left often, sometimes greens, a lot of other things sell. Oh, that's the eucalyptus. Oh, memories. But yeah, I could shop my own stash and do that. I do have some worsted weight, not a lot of, there are some pastels, but see the natural dyed ones I don't want to over dye with acid dyes. So anyway, if it's a video you would be interested in would be me shopping in my own shop, which obviously like I wouldn't have to, I wouldn't have to pay for things in the shop. I can just deactivate a listing. But if you would like me to do a video where I shop in my own shop to over dye something, that is a video that I could do. So there's always lots of things that I could do. Oh my gosh. And then, oh, yesterday's video was a scribbling with Wilton's Violet. I forget what Friday's video is. Week. Believe it or not, I have a spreadsheet that has like every single Dye Pot Weekly video, but like a lot of bonus videos aren't in there. Ooh, Fridays is gonna be fun. Although I barely like sometimes I'm like, wait, when did I film that? Because I also did something similar at another time. And so yeah, so sometimes I get a little confused. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff coming up. Because I'm like, ooh, have I done that one yet? And they're like, oh wait, oh no, that one inspired this other one. And so yeah, because I don't put the finished titles on there, I just have like a quick concept of what it is on my list. And next Friday is yours. Yay! Have you looked at it? I love that yarn. Yeah, when I misread March as May, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'll put this video out on the end of May. In May. You'd like to see me over dye speckle my own yarn? All right, I'm gonna write that down. And that's something I've been talking about doing. But then sometimes they the more muted, less vibrant ones, those do sell eventually. But I'll try to find something old. Shop in my own shop. Over dye some old stuff. But yeah, I wish that Etsy would allow me to, you can sort, because you have to read new listings every few months, there's no way for me to like sort by when did I first add this yarn. But sometimes I can kind of tell from pictures. Oh, sometimes I can tell from pictures. But and then it's just like, okay, phew. It's like no news from teachers. And then, yeah, so tomorrow we're doing a lunch for all the teachers, and so I'll be at school, although the kids won't see me. Oh, it was so cute. So yesterday we're like setting up the teachers' lounge because it's Teacher Appreciation Week, so love teachers. But so we're setting up the teacher's lounge, and then I leave to go to the car, and then all of a sudden, like, Lucas comes running up to me. And clearly, like, he was just in line, because then I see his teacher. They must have been coming inside from, like, recess or something. And I was like, Lucas, are you supposed to be getting out of line? He's like, Miss Kenny said it was okay. And I'm like, oh, phew. I was like, okay, your teacher gave permission, because I was nervous that he just, like, abandoned line to come see me. But it was so sweet. I like being that I can go into their school again. But hopefully, I had fun making cups for all the teachers, but I'm hoping that it's not going to be an expectation that I make something personalized from everyone every year. But I will help like make stuff. I just, yeah. It was an undertaking. But yeah, just like a simple like script font. I may make myself one because I think it's fun. But I would do like my first name probably. But anyway. Oh, I was like, I'm like, where did that sound come from? So we're good and steamy and just sort of, we're playing the waiting game now. I don't know how much time is on the timer. I should check. But again, feel free, it's possible, okay, I've changed the way I'm seeing the chat because it's possible I could have missed some things. But again, please leave questions. I love questions. Makes me happy. All right, and I'm going to grab some pre-soak water. So this doesn't have acid, but I see some like wet drips of color. And not that our pan needs more water, but there's no harm in just rinsing some of that off the sides. So, did a little bit of that. Okay, there's only a couple of minutes on the timer. I'm going to make you low. Okay. I really just feel like I have a splinter. I have to say, I love big turkey basters. The one thing I wish that so my actual turkey baster that I use when I make a turkey is metal. But then you can't see how much liquid you're soaking up because it's not clear. So like on one hand, I want like a metal turkey baster so I feel okay like putting it in hot liquid for dyeing, right? But on the other hand, like being able to see how much liquid I've soaked up is really important. So there's that. And what you did for the kids teachers is amazing. I went above and beyond. Yeah. Oh, you just took early retirement? Well, congratulations on your retirement. Yeah, I've always, like, even in preschool, I always did, like, end of year teacher gifts. Like, I'm a crafty kind of person. I'm very crafty. No, but I'm a crafty, like, person, and so I enjoy, and I've always enjoyed showing appreciation. Like, in high school, when we had tennis matches, we would have, like, a secret buddy, and I would, we'd decorate lockers. I loved going all out to try to make people feel loved and appreciated, and especially these last few years, which have been so unbelievably hard on teachers. These last few years have been hard on everyone. But in terms of challenges within the profession, and then getting grief, like teachers always have gotten lots of grief from parents, I'm sure. But I just think that it's been worse, like, is when there were more restrictions and things. Especially, less so last year, but in the spring of 2020 when things first shut down, I know a lot of parents who were really frustrated because the schools couldn't do very much because of equity reasons. Like, they couldn't get devices to everyone, make sure everyone had internet at home, and so therefore the limited interaction with teachers had to be like reviewing old material, not new material. And a lot of parents were really frustrated, and so therefore I imagine there was a lot of blowback directed at teachers themselves. And so I always try to be like extra like appreciative and things for them and supportive. And so just even before things were extra hard, I just always cared about that. And so yeah, I don't know, it makes me feel happy. But yeah, like yes, I am still live, Jessica. I am. But yeah, I'm just talking about, I made personalized tumblers for teacher appreciation. And, oh, I mean, these are the tumblers, but I have a million left over. I left a bunch of these scrub brushes in the teacher's lounge that came with them. But this is the cups that I used. They change color when they're cold, which is super fun. All right. I am pretty good at kind of tuning my timer out. All right, let's see. Okay, so a lot of it has set. I am gonna wanna move it, but I think I wanna give it maybe 5 more minutes. I just added a little bit of vinegar. Hey, Indy, you are okay, I promise. He's like, Mommy, you are streaming. I want to come in. He doesn't do this when I'm filming. He doesn't come and beg or anything while I'm actually filming. Oh, goodness. But let me see. I think that what I'm going to do is take a brief break just for a couple of minutes. And then I'll come back and we will flip our yarn, decide if it needs more color or if I'm satisfied with this peacock goodness. And so then we'll either add more color or start playing around with a leave no dye behind. I have a collection of dye, and so we'll do, I haven't decided on a technique. We'll do something with it. All right, so I will be right back. Indie bark. Yeah. He although I didn't go get him because I'm still dealing with dry dye powder. But yeah, he's like, hello, I want a COOKIE. He's a sweet boy. He's a sweet boy. But yeah, all right, let's go back to the counter and go see. He's a mostly good boy. Man, and I'm 20 seconds from the timer. So by the time I get my gloves on, well, it doesn't take me 20 seconds to put my gloves on. I turned off the timer. Of course, the time it takes for me to turn off the timer, honestly, I could have, like, in that time, I could have, like, just let it go off and then so. Here's our yarn mop so far. It's a little too hot to put on the counter. Okay, but let's check and see where we are with the yarn. Yeah, there's a little bit of color, but I think we're pretty good. So what I want to do now, I guess I kind of want to lift them all together. But the coverage is pretty darn good. We've got some pops of green, but like that's the goal. So I'm thinking about just calling it here. Yeah, I think I'm pretty satisfied. So what I want to do though, I do want to add more liquid because I want to give a chance for colors to bind. Oof. Coming over, oh no, the pre-soaked water, which I will hopefully not spill all over my whole house. I am going to temporarily, not turn up to 5, turn off this. But I'm just adding a bunch of water. So that yeah, adding a bunch of water. And do I have more acid? No, but I've added a bunch of acid already. So I'm now going to take this over to the stove. And so we'll say goodbye and it'll show up in the recap. Okay, and I'm going to turn that heat on in a moment. And we're going to heat it for 30 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm turning off, my steamer basket, and I'm bringing this pot back over. Okay, that all lit okay. I need, and I'm going to put the dry powders away because we're not going to use those anymore. And I should turn off the dye along image because we're no longer working with that. But I have leftover dyes. And so I have an idea that I want to do. Ooh, I love fluid steel. I'm like looking at and remembering like, ooh, I really like this color and that color. I've got dry yarn. And oh yeah, I have other stuff I have to steam set today. Oh goodness, I'm glad I remembered. I've got some minis for a test project. Okay. So we have some bright aqua in here. Not a ton, but some. And I have this mystery dye. But let me remove the dye along image so that way we can deal with that. And I will go ahead and scene set the yarn mop off camera for a good 30 minutes in a little bit. Welcome, Pretty Twisted Yarn. I'm glad you could join this live stream. Okay, so there is my extra dyes, which is like across multiple projects. So it's probably purpley because that tends to be the average. But actually, I think there was Cabernet. And so that's pretty deep. So I'm going to add that in and get a little bit more water to rinse this out. Now, there was no acid in this jar, but I did have acid in the pot. And I think a fair amount of acid too. So let me now go get I've got 2 skeins of Swish DK. Let's move this jar just completely over there. And I need some zip ties. And I'll use 2 newish ones. They've got a little bit of color on them. But yeah, feel free to ask questions while I'm doing this because, well, I am an easily distracted person, but I do like to answer questions. And so, yeah, I'm glad I decided to do this live. I will admit that one of the reasons why I did this is, one, I kind of wanted to stream. Excuse me, as I cough laugh. I kind of wanted to stream. I also really wanted to, what's it? I wanted to stream, but I also really wanted to, I didn't want to edit a lot more for the recap. And so I'm like, if I do it live, then that could be a win-win. But yeah, so we've got this mystery color, which is absolutely purplish. Absolutely purplish. Okay, let's take this dry. And 2 skeins is probably too much. Ooh, that's kind of like muted and nice. I've got 2 dry skeins of Swish DK yarn, and I'm dip dyeing these into this mystery color, which is probably mostly Cabernet, but definitely has other things in it. And this yarn was not pre-soaked, but you can see we are starting to soak up the color. And okay, now I'm gonna have a problem because this is really pretty, like as its own. Shoot. I mean, I always want things to be really pretty, but I was gonna dip into this one color and then, okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna change it up. We're gonna dip into this mystery mixture and then we're gonna dip dye the other side into bright aqua and just do it like that. I thought that I would just leave it as is, or I was also considering putting the bright aqua and just pouring it on top and doing something random. But those purples are so pretty and I can never make that color again. Shoot. Okay, if you would like me to take the bright aqua dye I have, add it to a lot of water and just pour it on top to see what we get, put a blue heart in the chat. And if you would rather that I dip dye, just say dip dye. I don't know. I will not remember what I just said. Maybe I should make a poll. Never mind. I will just make a poll. Because I will not remember what things meant. Okay, what should I do with the bright aqua? Dilute and pour directly in the pot. Dip, dye the yarn, the other side of the yarn. Okay. I created a poll, I think. Okay, good, I see it. The best colorways are the ones you can't recreate. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Oh, I can hide the dye along. Yeah, sometimes Leave No Dye Behind is from one particular project, and sometimes I'm just assembling a collection. Assembling a collection, but I'm super curious to see what people think, and yeah. So first, like, pop this emoji. Oh wait, because yeah, then I was like, I will not remember. Oh, interesting. Interesting. But yeah, I should do some just like random. Oh, this is a video I want to do. Random like pouring colors, but like moving the yarn. Pouring colors, but move the yarn in between. I keep video ideas in lists like all over the place. But right now it looks like dip dyeing into the other side is winning. So I'm gonna set a timer, I think, for 10 minutes on my phone because I have another timer going on the stove. And then when it goes off, I'm not gonna remember what it's for. Because that happens. Oh, I can't tell you how often there's a timer and we just don't know what it is. And okay, so there's no affiliation with this, and my nails are bare and not painted right now. But there was a Holo Taco drop this morning, and so I was very excited. You think you voted, but you have a glove on your other hand. But yeah, dip dyeing the other side is winning 3-1. But I think what's funny is that I think Angie and Pretty Twisted Yarns, saying just Pretty Twisted sounds bad, just like when I just go like, I want to dye today, and I'll leave the yarn out. But anyway, so when I say it, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't abbreviate. But I think that they were both in favor of the dilute and pour directly in the pot. But I think I'll dip dye on the other side, but we'll wait. And I may as well, I'll leave the poll up. I guess there's no harm in me leaving the poll up while the timer is going off. So I'll give people time to decide. But actually, I'll move here. So this, it's looking a lot more gray on camera. It definitely is like a very muted purple. But see, when I dip dyed at first, I was like, oh, this is pretty on its own. Shoot! I mean, like, almost any color if you dip dye is pretty on its own. But I guess that the color was so unique. You know, like sometimes when you have something, when you mix like all kinds of colors, let's see, I think there was Cabernet, there was Moss Green, there's like a little bit of colors from a bunch of other brands. But the Cabernet was definitely probably the most potent in there, and so that's the one. There's a lot. Hi, Teresa. I will probably forget. There's some people now that I'm like, oh, I know their like YouTube handles and names like cross platforms, but then every once in a while I'm like, oh, and then my mind like, yeah. But then again, I wonder sometimes like when I comment like on Facebook under like my personal profile, because sometimes like it takes too many steps to swap. And so sometimes I don't know if people know that like I'm the same person or not. Or just a random Rebecca. Oh right, I should hide this here too. Because that's not what I'm doing now. But yeah, we've done a bit of shopping. Not that I've placed my order yet or anything like that. That has not happened. Not with Nitpicks at least, but I can. I'm under no obligation to promote it, but thank you to people who are shopping. I was like, well, why did I flash in between? Nitpicks is having a sale, a site-wide sale, 20% off. And they've done it a little bit differently this time in that they've done things prices as marked. And so this excludes value packs and clearance items. And so, which is a little bit sad, only because when they would do these big site-wide sales, they would do, when it's a coupon code, then I would use it and stock up on the bulk bare yarn, because then it would like 20% off of something that's already 15% off is great. Now, 20% off is still a better deal than the bulk 15% off for bare yarn. So instead of doing the, there's not like a fast way there anymore. So the bulk bare yarn discount now takes you to like all the value packs. But so there's so many clicks now. The bulk bare yarn is about 15% off. But today, we just go to the Bare Dye Your Own, all of these skeins are 20% off. And so 20% off is better than 15% off. So you can pick things up, and even the like minis look like they're on sale, which is pretty cool. So I have that pinned in the chat, my affiliate link. I'm under no obligation to promote this or anything, but I do earn commissions. So that is why, one reason why I'm excited to share. But the other reason why I'm excited to share is I legitimately use Knitpicks products. And so I, as a customer, my tummy was rumbling. As a customer, I'm always looking for sales and good deals. And so therefore, if there's going to be a sale, I'm going to want to take advantage of it. But yeah, sometimes like I know sometimes they give me a little bit of advance notice of something that could be coming up, but not always. But I was hoping for a discount on the bare yarn because they did recently raise prices, and I'm gonna have to figure out. And I don't feel like doing that now in the coming months. I may have to raise prices myself, and if I'm going to, I will try to like just mention it in a stream or on Patreon when that's gonna happen. But yeah, just because the costs, there's two main reasons why I will probably have to raise prices. The cost of bare yarn has gone up on pretty much all vendors. So that has happened. And then also Etsy raised the fees that they're taking off of purchases. And so I'm going to have to recalculate all of my, I'm going to have to redo my spreadsheet to recalculate prices and stuff. But yeah, that's not coming like imminently. So, and hopefully like maybe it would only be 50 cents. I don't know. So it shouldn't be huge. Everything has gotten more expensive, yes. And so it's just sort of, I actually haven't raised prices in a while. I raised them once since I started, and yeah, after that it's been a while. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate. I can't see how much time there's left on the timer. But I'm like so curious how much color is left in the pot. I'm like, nope, don't touch, but I want to touch. Don't touch, but I want to touch. So sometimes some yarn does better when it's dry for dip dyeing and other kinds of techniques than others. So Nitpicks Swish DK absorbs water really, really quickly. And so you can, even with starting with dry yarn, still get some evenness to it. It's like a sponge, it soaks it up. Some other yarns might not soak up as fast, so you could end up with white patches. And it all depends on what you're going for and the look you're going for, and whether you try. You place a Nitpicks order, woohoo! Exactly. You can, that's what I was just saying. You can order 20 single skeins and you save an extra 5%, which is great. So yeah, that is exactly what I'm going to do. For example, I was like, okay, just making sure there's no information here. But so these are some of the colors I've added in. But yeah, you can see that you can add 20. Sometimes when they discount individual things, there's a limit. But actually, we can check. I don't think I need 100. Oh, there's a limit of 99? Aw, man! It's funny, I've never tested that before. That could just be like an inventory thing. But the other nice thing about this is that you could order, you don't have to order in groups of 20, you could order 5, you could order 7 or something and get the wholesale prices. And so That is a good thing. They make someday, if we build out my dream studio, which would be designed for streaming and as well for filming, I want like ceiling camera mounts. I want I want a desk where I will sit that the computer can be actually, and I would build a desktop instead of a laptop for streaming. And then I would get one of those stream decks where you can have like, you can swap between the different scenes with just like a push of a button instead of me having to like try to read the small font and go through. I enjoy streaming, and like there's actually like a part of the counter where I could probably like put a chair and stuff, but it would just involve like a lot more reconfiguration of the kitchen, and so the floor is just an easy place to be when I'm streaming. So yeah, but who knows if we'll do something. Yeah, but we'll figure something out. It's just if we were gonna take, say, the garage and turn it into a filming studio, that would require significant significant renovations because the garage, which I would be totally happy with. It's only a single car garage and it's enough space, but it's not weatherized at all. And so I would want it to be insulated so I could have like air conditioning in the summer. Even if it's like a standalone thing that I use and turn off while I'm filming, but it needs heat and I want a sink. So yeah, those are my wish list. But we don't know if like we might like move or what. Oh, I should stop the poll. All right. Oh no. It was pretty close. 61% though voted, or 60% to dip dye the other side. So that's what I'm going to do. You dyeing in your kitchen too. Your whole house is kind of a studio. Oh yeah, like my living room is full with spring mini skein miniseries yarn. I can probably move that up to my studio now. My quote studio is, that's where I sometimes film myself in front of the yarn backdrop. It's a glorified closet. It is full of boxes. And by full of boxes, I mean like completely full of boxes. This color is so pretty. It's so muted. It is so full of boxes, but also like it's a walkthrough to get up to our finished attic. And so it's a hallway and one side of the wall is all closets. So there's not even really space for a desk. But like it has plenty of storage. It's just, I wouldn't be able to dye yarn in there. And so, yeah, we've realized my needs are, I need a place where I can store finished yarn that is not super humid. And then I need a place that can handle being super humid. So we'd want to have like plenty of ventilation and stuff so that way, or, you know, dehumidifiers so that we wouldn't cause any problems by, like, a kitchen can handle a bunch of steam, you know? So that's something we want to consider. Okay, the dye pot is warm. Let's see how this is doing. Okay, that's still a little bit hot. There's a little bit of staining on the cup, but I'm not going to try to get that out. I'm just going to put soap in this cup and start soaking it. And this pot is still heating. The heat is, oh no, it's not. Oh, that's so funny. The heat was off. I had never turned it back on. Because normally when I turn off the heat on like the electric hot plate, I unplug it. So I assumed it was still on. But So on screen, the color is looking more, I would call it almost peacock blue. There's a bit more yellow to it. So I'm very curious to see what this will do with the purple. But we will, I may need to bring the stool over to stand on it, but we'll do that. I'm gonna let the yarn cool a little bit. Maybe I'll set a timer so I don't forget. And I'll put the face cam back on. We'll just wait like 5 minutes. I use a lot of timers. Like for example, I set a lot of alarms. Like I have alarms that go off like 15 minutes before I have to leave to pick up the kids. And then like at the time I have to leave in the morning, like I have one go off at like 6 and then 6:30 and 7 just to make sure like I don't always get out of bed at 6, but sometimes I read and yeah. Andy said, you now regret having it insulated when we got your carport converted to a garage. You regret not having it insulated. Yeah, but you did that before you started dyeing yarn. Yeah, and so like right now, like it's very, like my house was rebuilt like well before we moved in, a while before we moved in. But the garage was just re-sided, and so that's original from like the 50s. When it was originally built, and it's like, I mean, not finished at all. You can see the beams and stuff, and there's like a shed tacked on. It needs a new roof. Like there's a lot that it needs to do. So I think that like conceivably we could do like a proper like big renovation, or we could sew, which might be easier, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we'll do, but the other thing that I have to think about is that if we end up doing like a big renovation, then like that might mean I can't film for a while, or I'd have to get creative. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But it's like we want to redo our kitchen, and like I don't want to redo the kitchen and then dye in it and risk like messing up the new kitchen, you know? And so like that's a consideration for me. So there's lots of home projects that we would like to do here that you know, we would talk about, but we weren't seriously working towards any of it at the time, mainly because like we were waiting on to find out if whether or not Keith would get tenure. And so now he just got tenure, which is awesome. We know that like, I mean, we wanted to stay in this area anyway, but we know that like, okay, that makes more sense. And so we can think about, we can make 5-year out plans and stuff and like how to like expand. Because like on one hand, every once in a while I wish that there was like, you know, like art studios or if there was something that I could rent. The problem is that like, again, the needing like the kitchen-y kind of stuff makes it hard. And like I don't want to need or want a storefront because I don't want to open an actual shop. And at the same time, having the flexibility of working from home is really, really good. And so those are just things that we'll need to figure out. But we don't have enough land for us to build like a shed or something that I could work out of. And so the needs also, because I film, are a bit different from needs if I was just dyeing and not filming. And so those are all things that we have to consider. But yeah. You're crocheting as you're watching. Oh, yay! And you noticed, you're using the same colors I was dyeing with? Oh, awesome. Check for maker spaces. I should. I haven't searched, I think, maker spaces directly. Because when I've searched for like shared kind of workspace stuff, things that have come up like wouldn't necessarily work for filming, but Oh Oh, there's a cool maker space not far away, but it is more of a, like, they have a bunch of 3D printers and stuff. It's not something that where I can have like my own dedicated area. So, but that is something that is worth looking into. Yeah, because I'd have to think like, yeah, I'm not interested in opening up my own like local yarn store or something like that, and I don't have enough inventory to do something like that. Just like with my own stuff. So, and I also don't make enough to like rent or buy another house that I could then use as an entire like space. At one point, the house next to us was up for sale, and it's like, too bad we can't afford that too, because it's a much smaller house, and I'm like, oh, it would have been like, wouldn't it be great as like, yeah, but we certainly can't afford a second house. But it was like, the dream. Oh, the dream. But anyway, all right, I just flipped, and I don't think you guys could see that at all. I flipped where the zip ties are on this yarn. So that way we can do the lighter color in first. And I'm going to bring the step stool over so that way I can do this. The skeins got a little bit messy, but that's okay. All right. Well, that's pretty. So I don't know how quickly I'm going to go into this color. I think it's going to depend on both how quickly it's soaking up, and what the colors are doing. Because I don't know if, that's really, really pretty. I'm going to go pretty high. I don't think the bright aqua is going in that fast. It's certainly going to be darker at that other end, but it's going to mean that it's not going to be quite as dusty purple, but it's going to give it like a different character. So the one thing I was a little concerned about was because the purple was so dusty, I was a little concerned that the brightness of the bright aqua would overwhelm it, but I don't think it did that. I think that it's complementing it really, really nicely. But that's why sometimes, like when you're doing this, you were like, okay, I don't want all the color to go all over, but then other times you might want it to. And so it's worth just keeping a good eye on things as you're doing it to get the kind of coverage that you want. But anyway, the timer on our gloss is about to go off. So I'm going to turn off the heat back there, because are you one of those people too that sometimes might stop the microwave when there's like 2 seconds left? All right, it's looking like all the color has absorbed on the gloss, but I'm going to let that cool down in the pan. And I still have the yarn mop that I need to steam set. I have not forgotten about her. Or I need to finish steam setting, because technically I think it was in the steamer basket for 15 minutes, and I don't think I added any color after that. So anyway, but this I'm going to heat for a good 30 minutes. And I considered setting up another steamer basket, but I think I want to reuse this pot. So after 30 minutes, I'm going to remove this yarn, and then I'm going to set it aside, pour out some of the water, and then put the steamer basket back in it to use for the yarn mop. And I'll probably do another 30 minutes on the yarn mop, because why not? More heat rarely. Oh no, that's not where I wanted to go. Neither was that. What? That's my other camera. Oh, I must have turned it off. Weird. Rarely does too much heat cause a problem. So thank you. I really, really like it. I'm really excited. Really, really excited. But yeah. Anyway, this is just a short and sweet little stream. I did one last one. There's a bunch of streams that I want to do that I'm hoping to work into the schedule. Like, this is an idea that I got from a dyer named, I think her name's Natalie. It was like a crayon. Like you pull a crayon out of a container and then you try to dye the color to match that. I thought that sounded like a fun stream idea. Yeah, there's a lot of like little challenges and randoms, and like I designed a while ago like like dice, that have different techniques on it, so then we could roll it and decide, like let fate decide what technique I'm gonna do. I thought that sounded really, really fun. Yeah, so there are more stream things that I hope to do moving forward, more random streams, because I really enjoy it and it's a lot of fun. And so then, yeah, beyond just the dialogues. And so I don't know, June's not as hectic. June's going to be a little hectic because we're going to have company. I might do, instead of like having April's dialogue extend too much into May. Oh, but June's always rainbows. So maybe we'll do a June-July thing. Yeah. But anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. Oh, great, I have other yarn I need to steam set today. So maybe I do need to set up another steamer basket. Oh, but the countertop is covered. It could wait until tomorrow, but I don't want to. I could do that this evening when the kids go to bed, even though we're going to watch Moon Knight. But anyway, I know there's always like lots of challenging stuff going on in the world, and there's a lot of really, really upsetting things, and which I'm not going to talk more about, but I feel like I need to give a huge socially distant hug. I think that some of you may know what I'm referencing. Whew. Deep breaths. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you have enjoyed this stream. And please, please, please make sure that you subscribe to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel and turn on notifications, because sometimes I schedule my streams in advance and other times I decide much more last minute that that's what I'm going to be doing today. And so if you don't want to miss it, you want notifications on. And I think that when you turn on notifications, you can do some or all. And in your app settings, you can decide if you want to push notification or not. That's all up to you. But the best way to make sure you don't miss a stream is to have notifications on. But yeah, liking, give the video a thumbs up, and subscribing is the best way to support the content. But other ways that you can support the channel are, I've got tons of links in the video description, both to my shop and affiliate links. Those are all great ways to support the content. And as I've said, I've got some spring mini skein mini series sets ready to ship. And there's a link to that in the description, and maybe still, yes. And in the chat, I was like, it's still my on my clipboard. Yes, I'm, yeah, pretty livid. It's funny, I'm a person who shares big emotions, and I'm not good about talking about things all the time. I mean, I can talk about yarn all day, but I'm not always good at expressing myself over other things. But I do try to remain like, ChemKnits is my happy place. ChemKnits is my happy place. Oh, hi! Oh, I'm glad you like the Wilton's Violet colorway from yesterday, I think. Thank you, Karen. I'm unfortunately about to just head off, but the replay will be up. And yeah, I mean, today's Wednesday. So yeah, then the next video should be Friday. I don't think I'm doing any I'm going to be at school tomorrow, so I'm not going to be doing any streaming. But anyway, huge thank you to all the teachers out there for Teacher Appreciation Week. I appreciate you. If I could have made a personalized tumbler for every teacher in the world, I would. But there's no way I can do that. I'll stick with my school. Sorry. Oh man. Oh, it feels good to laugh. Even if I'm making myself laugh. Oh, thank you for calling ChemKnits a happy place. Oh, thank you, thank you. Anyway, yeah, I will chat with you all soon. Because I'm like, ooh, when's the next time I'll be live? But I need to figure out the May dialogue and I have to start editing those SMSMS videos. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I will chat with you soon. Bye!